California Poppy, Resurrection. Sometimes the day needs to disappear so you can sink into the lush blackness of night. Sometimes your eyes, whether open or shut, need the inky darkness of forgetting. Golden Poppy lives in both sun and shadow. She opens her petals in daylight and closes them when night comes out, giving in easily, knowing resurrection will come with the dawn. It's okay to sleep without dreaming, Poppy soothes. To fall deep and far. Have no fear. Day will come, and you'll once again stretch and unfurl. Ritual. True dark. When was the last time you let yourself go? Released your day-walking personality and slipped fully into the night? Forgot the rules of being yourself? We no longer know true dark. Lights and electronics glow throughout the night and the stars are obscured. Still, with a little effort, we can get a good approximation of darkness. Choose a night to go dark. Turn off all the lights and all electronics. If you have streetlights near your windows, draw the curtains. Don't use flashlights or electric lamps. Instead, light a candle or use a battery-operated tea lights. Your circadian rhythms. Exposure to light at night suppresses your body's production of melatonin, the hormone secreted by your pineal gland to regulate your circadian rhythms. Reflection. Meeting your nighttime self. As you let go of artificial light and step into true dark, observe yourself. Do your thoughts change when you're in the true dark? Are your movements different? Do you find yourself wanting to be more truthful or less? Do you find yourself wanting to be more sensual or less? What is the rhythm of your conversations when the light is low? Are you wanting to sleep earlier than usual? This is your nighttime self, a self you may have rarely met. Breathe into her and see how she complements the daytime self you know so well. Chickweed, fresh start. Start fresh. Chickweed sings of bright beginnings, welcoming you to your path. Her tiny star-like flowers whisper, "It's time." Not sure you're ready? No worries. Gently, she'll break cells open, renewing energy and life. Chickweed reminds you, wherever you are is a fine place to begin. She'll joyously demonstrate by tumbling from any possible place for new growth, from neglected farmstead flower pots to abandoned urban planters. She chips away at old ideas on a foundational level, opening your internal windows to let in fresh thoughts, sloughing off what no longer serves. What's keeping you from making the changes you crave? Perhaps you've been hauling around slowly accreated insecurities or anger's quicksilver flame. See who you are without these burdens, she suggests, smiling as she guides you to begin. Ritual. Notice the micro world. Like many tiny treasures, chickweed is easily overlooked. In honor of chickweed, spend time noticing the micro world. Sometimes it's the smallest things that make the biggest impact. Broaden your field of attention to include the tiny cotyledons pushing up in early spring and the flecks of mica decorating the face of a boulder. Notice the myriad spots on a butterfly's wings, the tiny seed-like capsules called sori on the underside of a fern's leaf, the shifting colors in the sand on a beach. Listen for the small sounds, the rustle of a bird's wings, and the click-clack of a squirrel breaking open acorns. In this way, you'll train yourself to pay attention to the subtler currents of not only the world around you, but also your own life. Reflection. Look for little stars. It's easy to figure out the best way to move forward when life gives you big flashy signposts, but it can be harder when the path seems mundane and mapped by only the smallest of lights. Chickweed reminds you to look for those small lights. Her Latin name, Stellaria, means little star. What little stars are you ignoring as you search for floodlights and fireworks? What bright beginnings are moldering as you wish for something bigger? Is the trail unspooling at your feet while you have your eye on a distant horizon? That my complicated life could be made so simple was astounding. Cheryl Strayed, Wild. Comfrey, what needs mending? Comfrey loves to mend. Skin, bones, soil. There's so much to do. She dives deep, magicking molecules, rebuilding broken chains, restacking cells into tissue and tissue into muscle. This is joyous work for Comfrey, so she tends to work quickly, sometimes too quickly. Her boldness can border on recklessness, and in her mad scientist exuberance, she can get ahead of herself and forget first steps. Comfrey is a reminder to work systematically, starting with the deepest layers and working your way out. Even creative endeavors need to be built on a solid foundation. If Comfrey appears, ask what needs mending, and then pause to assess and plan before diving in. Ritual. Breaking apart. The flip side of mending is breaking. We're trained to appear strong and often feel guilt or shame when we break. But unmaking is as much a part of the cycle as making. And breaking can be incredibly liberating. If you've swung a sledgehammer during a home renovation project, you know this is true. Find something you can safely smash, hurl, stomp on, or pummel. Do it. Allow yourself to scream or at least grunt loudly. Nothing like that in your house? Beat up your bed with a pillow. What you're going for is the moment when your mind stops chattering and you simply release. Reflection. Disillusion. It's easier to break something than it is to repair it, and yet there's a rare release in breaking, in disillusion, that we seldom let ourselves feel. Think of the caterpillar that turns into DNA soup during its time in the cocoon, so it can emerge as a butterfly. What if you knew without a shadow of a doubt that you could break and be remade? What if you could find joy in the breaking? What possibilities might this open up in you? When real metamorphosis has begun, we run into a welter of dissolving experiences. We may feel that everything is falling apart, that we're losing everyone and everything. Dissolving feels like death because it is. It's the demise of the person that you've been. Martha Beck. Common Raven, align your inner compass. Deep in Raven's heart is an ancient secret, a memory as tattered as his feathers are after harrying hawks. Few alive remember that Raven used to be as white as freshly fallen snow, having himself been through the subtle shifting of transformation and rebirth. Raven knows that the world is often not quite what it seems. In the blink of an eye, light becomes shadow, and shadow shifts to light. And so Raven is not one for rules or morality. Raven knows that sometimes the only way to course correct is to step out of the boxes culture creates and align instead with your inner compass. What's the highest good? Asked this winged trickster. And what are you willing to sacrifice to bring it into the light? Ritual, stepping into sovereignty. Many a god and goddess have cloaked themselves in raven feathers, shifting form to fly over battlefields, protecting chosen warriors and ushering the dead to the afterlife. Raven was but one form of the goddess Morrigan, who the Celts honored and feared. While the Morrigan in her raven cloak was well known as the Queen of War, she had another face, the face of sovereignty. Sovereignty is an ancient concept which ties the land to its people and the people to their land. Sovereignty in its purest form is not about ownership, it's about relationship. In modern days, our primary relationships are often with other people. But what if your primary relationship was with yourself and from a place of self-sovereignty with the land? Find a place to sit quietly outdoors. And remember, this is not about ownership. This is about relationship. You do not need to own the land on which you are sitting. Place both hands over your heart and breathe, finding your center. When you feel quiet in yourself, move your hands to lie flat on the earth. Breathe here. Allow yourself to feel and believe you are in relationship, a circle of give and take, a cycle of sovereignty. Reflection, noticing nuance. In the tales of people native to the Pacific Northwest, ravens stole the sun. Bad raven, you might think, but life is rarely so cut and dry. In time's beginning, the world lived in darkness. In this swirling and never-ending night lived Raven. Raven's feathers were as white as the stars that did not yet shine, and his heart was fiery as the absent sun. Raven fell in love with Eagle's daughter, and as often happens during courtship, was invited to Eagle's home. When Raven entered Eagle's home, he was startled to find a massive globe of fire warming Eagle's hearth. This fiery sphere was enough to light not just the home, but the whole benighted world. Raven knew what he had to do and the love it would cost. But the world was dark and filled with suffering. So Raven grabbed that fiery globe and soared up Eagle's chimney. Raven flew higher and higher, his bright wings now covered in chimney soot. With Eagle in chase, Raven hurled the fiery sphere as hard and high as he possibly could. Eagle screeched in fury as the sun flew out of his reach and settled, sighing into its home in the sky. To this day, Raven's wings remain dark as the night that existed before he stole the sun. Is there a situation or person you are seeing as fixed, but might actually be as mutable as Raven's feathers? Common Tortoise, steady on. Slow and steady, says Tortoise, well versed in the ways of time. Tortoise was born ancient, older than snake or alligator, and certainly older than humans. As other species have changed, evolved, and shifted, Tortoise has remained steadfast. Late to almost everything, Tortoise is the totem of the slow bloomer. There's no need to be a prodigy, Tortoise assures you. You didn't miss the boat simply because your first few decades have passed. Hunker down. Connect with the earth. Take a siesta. It's through the slow and steady that we truly come to know ourselves. Ritual. Slow your roll. Tortoises are among the longest-lived creatures on Earth, with lifespans sometimes measured in centuries. They have been associated with immortality, not because of their long lives, but also because of tortoises' ability to survive a forest fire. a gift given to those whose shells have thickened enough to withstand the heat. Tortoises are like stones, moving slowly so as not to disturb the flow of time. What happens when you move more slowly? Try this. Set the intention to take twice as long to eat a meal. Slow down your chewing and swallowing. Pause between bites. Put your fork down occasionally and breathe, noticing the world around you. How does it feel to move more slowly, to step into tortoise time? Notice all the various parts of your being. How does your stomach feel? How does your mind feel? How does time itself feel? Tortoise or turtle? All tortoises are turtles, but not all turtles are tortoises. The word tortoise refers to land-dwelling creatures. Reflection. A universe unto herself. Tortoise carries her home on her back, and that home, her shell, is often decorated with 13 scutes, the patterned squares of a tortoise shell. The 13 scutes are said to reflect the 13 full moons of the year. Thus, tortoise represents both the earth, which she hugs with her powerful legs, and the night sky, which she wears on her back. She is a universe unto herself. Tortoise is a solitary creature. Born alone, her mother long gone, she lives most of her life both inside her shell and deep in her burrow, which protects her from temperature changes. Tortoise teaches you the art of being at home with aloneness and with yourself. How do you do with aloneness? Can you come together with others, not from a place of need, but from the peace of your own center, contently balanced between your own earth and sky? Loneliness is the poverty of self. Solitude is richness of self. May Sarton, Journal of a Solitude. Cow and bull. Appreciate the process. A lot of what cow and bull eat is indigestible to other animals. Cow and bull munch on filled grass, undeterred by the tenacious fiber. After filling their bellies, they lie down to chew their cud, calmly working over the same meal, breaking it into smaller and smaller bits. Cows and bulls, like good therapists, know how to process. They luxuriate in regurgitation and slow assimilation, taking what is unpalatable and making it into a full meal. To the ancients, this made them gods and goddesses, bringing fecundity in even the harshest conditions. For modern humans, cows and bulls remind us to relax and appreciate the process, the slow rumination that allows even the toughest problems to become digestible. Cow and bull remind you that almost anything can be handled and assimilated if you give it time. Ritual. Appreciate the foundation. Nut, Egyptian goddess of the sky, was drawn as a cow with stars in her belly. 3 different bull cults dedicated to the gods Apis, Nevis, and Bacchus vied for followers during that same dynastic period. Cow and bull were central to life in ancient Europe, India, and the Middle East. The bull symbolized aggressive fertility, the cow the feminine principle of fecundity, and oxen, castrated bulls, represented the methodical get-it-done attitude upon which these ancient civilizations were built. Cow and bull, among the first animals to be domesticated, have been living side by side with humans for more than 10,000 years. Civilizations were built on their backs, yet unless you live in India, cow and bull rarely get the respect given to dogs and cats. Like cow and bull, the people in our lives who are most foundational can easily be overlooked. Make this a week of gratitude. Notice, appreciate, and thank the people who support your daily existence. If you always say the words thank you, take it further. Look the person in the eyes and add some energy to your words. Reflection. Is it possible that all is well? The German word gemütlich has been described as the feeling a cow has as it chews its cud in a field of wildflowers on a mild sunny afternoon. Cow and bull have mastered contentment of heart and spirit, at ease with themselves and with the world around them. This is a true gift. Can you give it to yourself? Can you allow the world to be okay just as it is in this moment? This is a big ask. Our brains are hardwired to notice problems, which is great for staying alive in a complex world, but makes it difficult to cultivate happiness. What are your obstacles to your contentment? Can you put these burdens down for a few moments of internal peace? At some point, you gotta let go and sit still and allow contentment to come to you. Elizabeth Gilbert, Eat, Pray, Love.